So like with everything else that I do in life, I begin in prayer. And so once again, standing in this awareness of the one power, the one life, the one presence, I recognize that this infinite intelligence permeates itself, reveals itself, represents itself in, through, and as all of life. I recognize that God is truly all that there is. And in recognizing that this infinite intelligence called God is everywhere present, I know that right where I am, God is. No matter where I go, God is. And as I know this to be the truth of my life, I know this to be the truth of all of life, that right where we all go, God is. The very ground that you stand upon, no matter where you are, it is holy ground simply because you are the divine emanation of God. And so it is from my awareness of our unification in God that I recognize, or that I realize, that this time together is splendid. It is magnificent. It is remarkable. For I know that whatever is said, it is said from the abundance of the heart. And whatever is heard, it is heard with unconditioned hearing. So I call this time good. I name, claim, and I accept that it is perfection in action. And we simply and in love allow this to be so now. And so it is. Amen. So just, how many are familiar with the 5 steps of spiritual mind treatment? Thank you very much. How many are not? Okay. All righty. Thank you. Because those, I want to speak to you. Well, with everybody. But let me just give you some background. Dr. Ernest Holmes, I believe, gave us one of the greatest tools, and that is spiritual mind treatment. And it's a scientific way of speaking the word. So the first step is recognition. So basically what that's about is recognizing that God, the infinite intelligence, creative mind, whatever you choose to call it, recognizing that it is everywhere present and that it is the source of all of life. The second step is unification, and that basically is saying that I am one with God. I unify with that presence. Scripture has it, or says it, in a few ways, one of which is, I am what thou art what I am. So there's a unification. Or as Yeshua would also say, I and the Father, which he called God, I and the Father are one. So there's this unification. So we recognize that there's this one power, and then we state and absolutely fall into the vibration that we are one with this. Realization is the third step. And that's where you realize, I love the word realization. To realize is to make real. So basically, whatever your prayer request is, say a more abundance. So I realize that I am abundant, that all of my needs are met. So that's the realization. And we'll go through these one at a time, and we'll break it down. Thanksgiving. So after this is done, then we give thanks for this already happening in our lives now. Yeshua said, pray believing that you have so that you may receive. So in other words, it's already done. It's already done in the mind of God, and we are one with that. So here we get to speak it into being, and then we give thanks for it. Then the release. You're going to hear me say, this is the best step of them all. I'm going to say this with all 5. To release it is to let go of it. Thank you. Is to let go of it, to release it. Dr. Holmes put it in such a wonderful way. It's like when we speak our word, it's like planting a seed into the soil. So gardeners, when they plant a seed, they plant it, and then they nurture the ground, and they just allow nature, they allow whatever it is to do its job, and whatever is planted, it comes to fruition. So they let go of the process. They don't dig up the seed to see if it's growing. They don't, look, do we have a little root going? So what we want to do is, once our word is planted into the universal soil, the universal mind, and we give thanks for it already being done, then we get to let it go. Yes, we do our work in nurturing the ground, we do our prayer work, we do our affirmations around it, but we let it go. We don't even worry about it. We release it. Okay? Now, those are the 5 steps in a nutshell. So I've been working with spiritual mind treatment for a long time, and I am a purist when it comes to the 5 steps of prayer. I use the steps every single time. And as I began doing that, something happened. Something began to shift within my life, wherein I began to realize that this is something that we just don't say. It's something that we just don't do by rote. This is something that as we continue to practice it, and as we continue to feel into each step, then we begin to live this. So that's what the workshop is about. It's about living the 5 steps of prayer and being the answered prayer. So in other words, I want you to be definite in this, that you are the answered prayer. Well, Eugene, what do you mean? What I mean by this is that be so definite with the first 2 steps that this here is nothing. This here just happens because you are so connected with this one power, this one presence, this one life. Did anybody? Never mind. I wanted to ask this question. Did anyone take a account of how many we have in the room? And we have how many? Cool. We get to pair up. We get to do a bunch of things. We're going to have fun. Okay, so let's start. Let me give you some more background about my relationship with prayer. I attribute my experience being an Orthodox Muslim to my love of prayer, because I attribute my love of prayer to being Muslim. There it is. Because, there are the required five prayers per day. And then in between the 5, there are more that one can do. So in the Islamic tradition, when we get past all of the new stuff about Islam and Muslims and all of that, when we get to the religion and the tradition and the way of life, that experience for me was so deep because everything was about prayer. Everything was about prayer. Walk into a room, and it's Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In the name of God, I'm walking into this room. In the name of God, I'm going to serve myself some food. So it's always about spirit. It's always about God. I love prayer. Love prayer. So let's get started. So the recognition, again, it's recognizing the one power, the one presence, the one life. So what we want to get to is recognizing that it is everywhere present. The chairs that you sit upon, the paper that you are writing upon, the writing instrument in your hand, everything has come from the invisible realm first, right? As I said earlier today, you can answer back. It's okay. There isn't anything that you can place your physical eye upon that was not formed in the invisible side of life first. Nothing. It's interesting to witness or to know that even in the thing that seems like it's stationary, and you put a high-powered microscope to it, the cells in the wood here are still moving. They're still doing their thing. So everything is alive. Everything is alive. So in recognizing this source in all of life, that would be the first step. So one of the things that I'm going to have you do from this point on for the next 7 days is to, when you glance upon something, when you see something, stop and consciously recognize the divinity within that, whatever it is. Got that tree. Wow. Right there, I see spirit. I recognize that this has come from something that is just greater than I can ever be. So we want to recognize it, recognize spirit in all of life. The next time you have the opportunity to come across a child, stop. Stop and recognize the children, because they're still so closely connected to that invisible world that they come forth. That's why kids are so much in joy, because they're still connected with that. And so when you see a child and just recognize, oh yeah, that's God right there. That's God right there. Your beloved, be it your spouse, be it your partner, be it a family member, when you look at them, even people that you may have met for the first time and you shake their hand, look deeply into their eyes and recognize the spirit within them. Oh, it's an amazing, amazing thing that comes back. Do you know that the power of a smile is tremendous? Man. So we want to spend as much time recognizing the infinite. Oh, see, Spirit, you're so cool. I love that. We want to spend as much time recognizing the infinite in everything. Get into your car. Your car may run fantastic. Your car may not run so fantastic, but it's okay. Recognize that, because all of the parts have come from the invisible first, right? And the invisible, for me, everything in life is spiritual. There's a saying which I don't really adhere to. I change it up as I do a lot of things to fit me. So you've heard, we are spiritual beings having a human experience. I like to say that we are spiritual beings having a spiritual experience in the spiritual plane called earth. Everything comes from spirit. So when we begin to recognize it, I mean, people say that, Eugene, you play spirited. Yes, I do. Spend as much time as you can recognizing that infinite, that power, that presence, that love. Recognize love. So after we spend time recognizing this, let's not go there yet, Eugene. Let's do this. I want you to pair up, please. I do it. B's, you are going first. And all that you are to do, A's, all that you are to do is just to sit there. All you're going to do is sit there. B's, your mission, if you accept. Bum, bum, dum, bum, bum. See, I swore I watched too much TV growing up. B, your job is to look into your partner's eyes and recognize the divinity within them. And I want you to do it only for a minute, just for 60 seconds. Just 60 seconds. Yes, just. Yep, just. Because then they get to do the same thing too. You're right, exactly. Just 60 seconds? That sounds like a short time. It's not. Okay, and thank you. We will start in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. No words are said. Now we get to switch. Where A, now you get to look into the eyes of your beloved partner there and recognize God within them. How was that for you, B's, to look into the A's eyes and recognize God? Just the B's right now. Not everyone's going to share. Felt like the rhythm of the heartbeat. And breathing at the same time. Yeah. Thank you. Stillness. I'm going to skip the other one. And the light beyond. But the light reflection. We're going to talk about that. Let me have two more B's share, please. Yes. Yeah, I can see the oneness. I can see the oneness. Yes. You felt the connection. Not only did you see it, but you felt it. So A's. Right. This is an interesting process, and you already know why. So A's, how was it for you to receive the B looking at you and recognizing the divinity within you? A's, whoever wants to share. A sense of relaxation and the breathing slowing down a lot. We were truly one. You saw my emotion. Did any of the A's, did you have the feeling that you were truly being seen? You were truly being seen because that person is truly seeing you. Not this, because we have had a couple people share that this began to disappear. The physical body, the face began to disappear. Had to keep blinking so I can keep the face in focus. But what happens, because we are so much more than this body. We are so much more. We don't see because we have eyes. We have eyes because we see. We have eyes because we see. So in recognizing the divine in that person across from you, so let's spread this out. So let's take that same energy, that same intent, that same focus that you just used in gazing into each other's eyes, recognizing the divinity, let's take that out into the world. So now because you're seeing through spiritual eyes, we are no longer only looking through the physical eye, we are now seeing through the spiritual eye. So now I get into my car and I'm looking at my car through the spiritual eyes. And I get to give thanks. Or that person who is in the market who is helping you, and they may be having not a great day because the customer before them was that spiritual term jerk. But when you go to pay the money as they're checking and scanning your food and you make contact, hey, how are you today? And catch their eye and see. You don't have to say anything, but smile. Smiling is such a powerful, powerful thing. Catch their eye and talk to them. Hey, how are you? But let your eyes speak. Let your eyes let them know that you recognize who they truly are. You'd be surprised how that moment in their life will change. It's amazing. Don't take my word for it. Go out and try it. I used to say, don't believe anything I say. Go out and try it.